Hey guys, it's Madison and welcome to another book review. So today I'll be reviewing The Stars We Steal by Alexa Donne. Before I get into the review, please feel free to like and subscribe for more content like this in the future. So this book is lightly based off of Persuasion by Jane Austen, and I found this really interesting because while I was reading the book, I had no idea that it was actually a retelling of a story. And after I figured this out, I found some similarities between Persuasion's description and then what actually happened in this book. In Persuasion, the heroine's last name is Elliot, and in this book, one of the characters' first names is Elliot. This is like a Jane Austen book, but set in space. So it's really cool, and I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars, and it's one of the best books that I've read all year. This book joins others like Chain of Gold and The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Those are amazing books, and this book just happens to be another new release that came out earlier this year, and it's one of my favorites so far. So this book takes place in space, where everyone is on a ship that's named after different country names, for example, the Scandinavian and Lady Liberty. So every year or every few years, different ships host the Vogue season, which is basically the Bachelor in space. It is a season where eligible young men and women go on a bunch of group dates or single dates with each other, and then by the end of it, they're supposed to have a fiancé. This time, the Vogue season is set on the Scandinavian, and this is the first time the Vogue season has been on the Scandinavian in 40 years, I think. It's been a long time. The main character, Princess Leonie, or as she likes to go by, Leo, is the heir to a family that has no money whatsoever. They've gone broke, and they need someone to bring money into their family. So since Leo is the heir, she needs to either marry rich, which she doesn't want to do at all, or fulfill her lifelong passion. But then all of a sudden, Leo's ex-lover Elliot appears on the Scandinavian during the Vogue season, and everything changes. Elliot is completely different from what Leo used to know him as, and Elliot was deemed unsuitable for marriage to Leo, but now he's completely changed. Every girl wants to be his fiancé. And Elliot's main goal is to make Leo's life miserable. And then of course, Leo begins to fall for Elliot like she did in the past, and a whole string of love, lies, and past regrets unsurface. With all of this in the Vogue season going on, there's also a terrorist organization that's not really terrorist, they're just spreading the word about mistreatment. They're demanding equality for all classes. And the reader kind of has this in the back of their mind while reading the book. So just some general thoughts about this book. I love it so much. The characters and the conflict are really well written, and although it's told in first person through the eyes of Leo, every single character has their own character arc, and I really can see them as a person. The writing is very easy to read, and the fast pace of the book kept my attention. And of course, the relationships and the drama in this book, oh my gosh, they are so dramatic and amazing. So Leo, of course, is the protagonist of this book, and her dream is to implement a water filtration system into all the ships so that basically turns urine into clean drinking water. If she can't do this by the end of the Vogue season, then she must marry someone, and she doesn't really want to do that because her heart lies with Elliot, who they were engaged before and then they're broken up, and it's been a while since they've seen each other, but Leo still has feelings for him. But then Elliot absolutely despises Leo and makes Leo feel helpless. I absolutely love Leo as a character. She isn't the normal YA heroine in the book, but she is fierce nonetheless. The next character, Elliot, is of course Leo's love interest in the story. If you think about Elliot like this summary described him, you may think that he's a dirtbag and he's really mean, but I actually love him. If you read the story, you will see everything that Elliot has gone through and what changed him into the person he is in this book. I assure you, if you read this, then you will love Elliot as well. So before the events of the story, Elliot and Leo were engaged to be married for about 12 hours, and then they broke up. And then Elliot disappeared out of the blue. He just disappeared for 3 years. When he returns during the Vogue season, Leo sees him for the first time and is absolutely struck. She's like, oh my god, I can't believe he's here. And there's this amazing passage from the book. It's at the very end of the first chapter. This is how the book describes Elliot and Leo's first meeting in the book. He rounded the corner and my breath caught. I hadn't imagined him at all. It was the boy whose heart I'd broken and for whom my heart still fluttered. it was Elliot. Obviously, Leo still has feelings for him. The miscommunication between Elliot and Leo is so frustrating yet entertaining. This becomes very prevalent later in the story, and I'm not going to talk about that because that would spoil the whole novel, but it definitely comes into play later. The dynamics between Leo and Elliot, they're just so well written. And specifically as a character, Elliot is so witty and clever, and I just want to know more about him. Leo has a younger sister in this novel named Karina, and she's 16 and she's also participating in the Vogue season. Karina is interested in becoming Elliot's fiancée during this engagement season, but she doesn't know about Elliot and Leo's past. So that's a little problematic there. Since Karina is the younger sister, she can marry for love, unlike Leo, who has to marry for wealth. Although Karina is a side character in the novel, you can definitely see all sides of her and how she evolves from the beginning to the end of the book. So there's another character in this book called Evgenia, and she is Elliot's partner in crime, and they arrive on the Scandinavian at the same time. I think that Evgenia kind of serves as comic relief, but she is such a strong character, but is essential to little and big parts of the story. One of the last characters that I'll talk about today is Clara. She is Leo's cousin, and Clara's mom is the captain of the Scandinavian. She is conniving and subtle, and she wants Leo's life to be horrible. She seems to have everything she wants in life, but then the reader discovers the problems she endures while being the daughter of a captain of the ship. So all these characters play really big and small roles in the story, and there are so many more. And I feel like even the small minor characters that we only see once or twice in the book, they have such an important role in the story, and everything has a purpose. So now I'll move into the pros and cons of this book. I'll start with the cons and then finish with the pros. So I didn't find that many cons in this book. Of the few cons that I found, they were just things that weren't explained as much as I would have liked, or things that weren't explored. One passage within the first 5 pages of the book describes Leo's fear of being in open space. If that's introduced in the first part of the book, I thought it would come into play later on. It was kind of explored, but not as much as I would have liked. And there's also a villain in the story that does play a role in the conflict between Leo and Elliot, but I would have liked to see the villain act on its own, not through other characters. And maybe I would have wanted to see the characters either side with the villain or side with the captain who's trying to take the villain down. And this villain, it's the terrorist organization, which they're not. That's just what the evil captain of the ship calls them. Now let's go to the pros. So the con side, there are only 2 cons that I found, but the pros, oh my god, I love this, so I have to keep my list short even though I have so many things I want to talk about. One pro is that, unlike Leo's fear of being in open space, her fear of being drowned in water or simply just being in water is explored a lot in this book. And it also plays a large role in the story's conflict. The representation in this book is also amazing. There are a range of sexual orientations like lesbian, asexual, and demisexual. And there are also a bunch of different body types represented in this novel. And the main character isn't the normal female heroine. She isn't skinny like a model, but she actually is very tall, 5'11", and curvy, so that's different to see in a YA book. The drama and the conflict between all the characters is amazingly written, and the tension between Leo and Elliot and Leo's jealousy towards her sister and her cousin is so funny. And even though it may not seem funny to Leo, it's just reading it from an outside perspective is so funny. And I found myself smiling along with the characters in the happy moments and becoming frustrated when things didn't go according to plan. The dates in the Vogue season are so amazing, and with the integration of high tech, like there are certain rooms for speed dating that the girls go into, and then based on the guy's ideal date, the room can shapeshift into whatever that idea is. And that is just so cool. And I wish that technology were available today. Yeah, that's just one of the dating opportunities. The other ones, they sound like so much fun. There's pool parties, there's painting classes, cooking challenges, and grand balls. So that is basically the end of my spoiler-free review. Now I'll go into talking about the end of the book. So for the next part of this video, I'll be discussing spoilers about the book. So if you don't want to be spoiled, please go to this part in the video. Okay, so I'm guessing the people here now have either read the book or don't care about being spoiled. And I'm fine with that, but I hope you're here because you've read the book, because oh my god, the ending is so good. I loved it. Everything just wrapped up perfectly for me. Okay, so one seed that was planted early on in the story that I actually figured out was when Leo's mom got drowned in a pool. Near the end of the book, Leo finds a note in one of her mom's old dresses from Leo's aunt saying, "You have night access to the pool, meet me there," or something along those lines. And I immediately thought that, okay, Leo's aunt is the one that killed Leo's mom. So I was like, okay, please let this be right. And then of course, in the next scene, Leo's aunt invites Leo down to the pool deck at night to discuss their differences. And of course, Leo's aunt tries to kill Leo by drowning her in the pool. It's just absolutely crazy how this happened. After this all happened, Leo's aunt confessed to killing Leo's mom, and of course, she was taken off the ship and her title as captain was revoked. That's a good thing. And when I see these little things like seeds planted early on in the book that I figure out before the book actually explains it, I can tell the author put a lot of care into weaving these subtle details into the story. And whenever I read books like this, I try and figure out the quote mystery before the book actually reveals it. And when I succeed in doing that, I feel proud and accomplished, and it makes me love the book that I'm reading even more. And the ending in general, and other than Leo's aunt trying to kill Leo, the ending is perfect for me. I absolutely love Leo and Elliot's ending, and they've sorted out their differences, and of course their miscommunication did have some bad effects on the relationship, and things could have been avoided completely if they just listened to each other. But they've gotten past that, and now they are engaged, and oh my god, that just makes me so happy. And I can only imagine what their life would be like together. I would like to think that Leo becomes the captain of the Scandinavian, even though I know that's not really what she wants to do. Her mom was aiming to be the captain before Leo's aunt killed her. Just to fulfill Leo's mom's wish, I think that Leo should become the captain. But from how the ending was written, I feel like Leo's cousin, Clara, becomes the new captain of the ship. Overall, this book is so good and I love the ending. So that is the end of the spoiler part of this review. And I would definitely recommend this book to fans of The Selection, The Bachelor, and classic retellings. And like I said before, this book is basically like The Bachelor in space, which is so cool. The Bachelor, the aspect of the drama and the connivingness of the characters, it's just, it comes into play so much in this book. And if you like The Bachelor and The Selection and classic retellings, you will love this book. So if I haven't said this enough already, I absolutely adore this book. It is so well written and everything about it is just chef's kiss. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. Everything is well paced and every aspect of the book has a purpose. The characters, subtle plot points, everything matters in the grand scheme of things, which I think every book should have. So that is it for the book review. I hope that you decide to pick up this book and read it and discover the same love that I have for the book. Once again, if you would like to see more videos like this in the future, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next week for another video.